Okay, cool. Thank you for having me. This is my third time talking at MicroConf, which is, well, right, a little louder on the whoop. No, was that? Yes, right. Yes. Yeah. Last time I got to follow Patrick McKenzie, which was basically the most evil thing you can do to a speaker at MicroConf. It was not fun for me to have to follow that act, but now I'm going to talk to you about copywriting first thing in the morning, but it's 10 a.m., right? So we're like a little alert. There's a pretty good turnout. It was hard to tell when I was standing over there, but I'm excited. The countdown timer is not on, just so you know, so I will just keep going endlessly. Okay, cool. So, right, I talk about copy a pretty good amount. I've talked about copy on this stage quite a bit. I owe a lot, actually, to MicroConf and to the whole like Hacker News kind of community and everything, so that was a noise. Okay, cool. So I'm, super excited to come back and talk more about copy today, and specifically about getting specific with your copy. So when I talk about this kind of stuff, I'll do like, a webinar or get on stage and give all of these like examples of how to get more specific with your copy and get cool results with it or get more clear, whatever the topic might be. But when I'm talking about specificity, I'm usually talking about putting more words on the page than you're comfortable with. So saying more, writing more, it makes people very uncomfortable. So I'll say, try it, just go for it and do it and give all these examples. And almost without fail, when it comes time for questions, we get some person trying to just completely derail things in a webinar who goes like, oh, that's all fine and good, Joanna, but don't you know, like the average visitor spends 15 seconds on your website. Like they only spend 15 seconds on your website, so how am I going to use all that long copy? Right? The average visitor spends 15 seconds on your website is what I hear, to which I say, like, so, like, since when did we try to convert the average visitor? If you're trying to convert the average visitor, things are probably not going that well for you. There is no such thing as an average person. There's no such thing as an average visitor. Your product is not average. There's no such thing as trying to convert the average visitor. You can try. It's not going to work. Now, I don't blame people for thinking this, because for years and years, 20-ish plus years, we've heard very smart people, maybe not copywriters and not people in conversion rate optimization, people like, the fine folks at Nielsen Norman Group tell us in these like out of context sound bites, things like, you've got 10 seconds to leave an impression and tell visitors what they'll get. 10 seconds, 10 incredible seconds to leave an impression and to tell visitors what they're going to get. That's all the time you have. Like, oh, wow, like 10 seconds, what am I going to do with the remaining 9 seconds? Like, that's so much time. What? I can do so much in 10 seconds. It's this crazy thing that we do, and I don't blame us, because we keep hearing again and again these sound bites that people don't read online. We just have to get to the point fast, keep it short, all that kind of stuff. We put these rules, these like walls around copy, which is actually your online salesperson, and you would in real life never tell your salesperson to hurry up and get to the point. Just hurry up, just walk in and just tell them what they're going to get and leave an impression and walk the hell out. Like, you wouldn't do that, right? We put these rules on it when the reality is copy is your online salesperson, and it either sells or it doesn't. It is not about 10 seconds, 15 seconds, the average visitor, word count. It's not about any of that. And all of those ideas are extremely limiting. I've seen it again and again. It's been a lot of years of writing copy, 5.5 years of doing copy hackers, where it's like focused on startups and the challenges that startups have growing their business while trying to, do so with their words, a small amount of money, and their words or their copy, the stuff on the page. So people rush toward this idea like you should do it all in 10 seconds, and if I can just get to the point really fast, I'll have done it right, and then I can move on and do something else in my business. But, so you've tried this 10-second copy. Like, how is it actually working out for you? Like, how is it working? Old Dr. Phil, right? His famous question, how is that working out for you? But how is it working out for you? How's it going? How is that rushed copy, those 6-word headlines, how are they doing? Feel good about them, getting good conversion rate? In most cases, no. Getting generally about a 2% conversion rate is basically the average, if we're talking about averages. So today, I'm going to tell you Not that you just have to use more words, but that you're empowered. You're allowed to use more words. You should use more words. That's the next goal. You've done the thing where you try using fewer words, doesn't work. Now try the thing where you start using more words. I'm going to show you exactly how. Now I'm not saying, as I'm talking about this, I'm not saying you should do, one of these ugly long-form sales pages with the yellow highlighting and the red. I'm not talking about this kind of long copy. This is a long-form sales page. It's not what I'm talking about. These work sometimes. We're not going to get into when they work. It's a different talk entirely. But they do work sometimes. I'm not saying you should do this, so drop that out of your mind right now. What I am saying is you should stop doing the things that make your copy fail. You should just start pushing more at finding more words. So I'm saying you should not do things like this, where you're making images do all of the work because for some reason copy's ugly or something. Like people don't like to see words. I don't know what the myth is going around. Like I don't know what it is. I'm on the other side of the fence. I have no idea what's being said. But all I know is when I go to a page and I see make these images doing all the work or all of your important messages crammed in a video, that's where the problem starts. That's a big problem. That's a big opportunity at the same time. I'm also saying you should avoid cramming all of your copy into this unreadable lump. When people say nobody reads online, no, they don't read this online. And intentionally, this is like, you can't see the details. What you can see is this little blur of 5 sentences that span the width of the page, and they're centered. People, if a great novel, if Harry Potter was formatted like that, nobody would read Harry Potter, right? Don't cram all of your copy into this unreadable lump. And most importantly, for today's talk in particular, do not summarize everything in as few words as possible. We think we should, though, right? We think when you look at that, those were all random pages that came up when I searched alternatives to Basecamp. Those pages came up. Those were PPC landing pages. People paid to drive traffic to those landing pages. And that they were randomly pulled says everything to me, that everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's taking comfort in saying very little and putting very little on the page and letting images do all the work, videos do all the work, trying not to say anything at all on the page. There's this push to be average. But you're not actually average. You're just trying so hard to be average. You're trying so hard not really to be noticed for fear maybe of what might happen if you're noticed and you maybe get it wrong. Better to say nothing at all. This is still something that confuses me. I'm not entirely clear on why there's this pull to be average or appear to be, but that's the reality. If you look at your website and your competitors' websites, if you looked at them right now, everybody is trying to stay in the same safe space, follow these same so-called better or best practices, and where is it getting us? And of course, I'm not just going to keep asking that. I will show you other things that you can do. But what I want to point out here is that the safety in being like the competition or saying things like the competition does, if that's something that enters your mind when you're writing or when you're considering what you're going to put on a landing page or your home page or in your emails or whatever it is that you might be writing, we're worried that people are going to choose our competitors instead of us. We're worried that as long as we're saying at least the same things that our competitors are saying, then we're safe, right? We can at least say we're safe. We don't have any weird people to answer to. Only ourselves, we can at least say, you know what, I'm safe there. But the real problem for most of us is not our competition. The real problem when it comes to actually converting people is that those people are instead choosing not to decide at all. So we're not losing sales necessarily to our competition. We're losing our sales to no decision whatsoever. People are just not deciding. They're not saying, I choose the competitor. They're saying, I don't choose anybody. I'm just going to keep going on with my life and keep doing what I'm doing, which means our copy's job is not to be average, but to really interrupt and get in the way of the force of inertia. It's to get in there and stop them from doing that thing where they just keep walking, right? We're worried about sound bites and quotes. The real one we should worry about is our visitors who are I don't know what you're trying to tell me. I don't know what you do. I don't know why this matters to me. You've got all these summary things. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to make a decision at all. Okay, thanks. Bye. That's it. That's the world that we're actually trying to convert in. So what if we just forgot about 10-second copy, 15-second copy, word count, long versus short, all of that stuff, and you just tried to convert one person? What if you just tried to convert just one person? Not a persona, an actual human being, a real person. Just one. I love this idea so much that I have a poem for you about it. You will like this poem. You might recognize a little of this poem. Roses are red. That's me breathing heavily. This is intense. Roses are red. Violets are blue. Donate to a teacher with the same name as you. Does anybody know this one? No? If you have donated to Donors Choose in the past or before Valentine's Day of 2014, you might have got this as an email. This was actual email body copy. This poem went out on Valentine's Day. The whole idea there was that if my name's Joanna Wiebe, and I am on Donors Choose mailing list, and they have a teacher in their database who also has the same name I have, Wiebe, then they would send me an email saying, donate to this guy. He's got the same name you've got. That was it. We just have the same name. He's teaching French. I've never donated to language programs at all. He's doing junior high school work. I don't know. I'm all about elementary schools. None of that mattered. All that mattered was that his name was the same name as my name. And how did it perform? People were 3 times more likely to give to a project. They gave 3 times as much, and it reactivated lapsed donors. I'm really going to stop breathing into that heavily. It's intense, seriously. So what's the point? Like, what's going on that's so, why? Why did people respond so dramatically to this? This like idea that when they get this, they can actually see themselves. Like, that's really them. That's me. It's me on the page. Now, that does not mean that using someone's name is the silver bullet, right? That's not what we're talking about when we're talking about personalization, which I won't get into today, tragically, but I'm really looking forward to Brennan giving a really long talk one day. Brennan, wherever you are out there, I see you. You're gonna do that. It's not about using someone's name. It's about the thing we all know to be true, that there's an incredible amount of noise. There's so much noise out there, so much that you can't even make out what that says. That's by design, that's intentional. There's so much noise, there's so many things. So 30 years ago, we saw 2,000 ad messages a day. Okay, how many do you think we see today? Unless it's already showing. No, it hasn't gone ahead. Okay, good. How many do you think we're exposed to in a day? 5, not 20. 5,000 ad messages in a day. Now, when I first started copywriting 100,000 years ago or something, I gave a talk inside the agency I was working at about how we're overwhelmed by messages, and that clearly has not changed in all of this time. It just keeps getting worse. It feels like we all have known this to be true for a really long time. But what are we doing about it? And even scarier than that, which is a little overwhelming, this holy crap, 5,000 in a day? I guess, what am I supposed to do with that number? Scarier is that we recognize 50 and remember 4. Now, is it scary or is it an opportunity? To me, I feel like there's some real safety in knowing that there are 5,000 ad messages and only 4 that I really have to compete with. I just have to be one of the 4. I don't have to be worried about being among the 5,000. I just have to be one of the 4 that gets remembered. That might be a better goal. Not to worry about all of the messages and all of the competition and all of those rules out there, but how do you become one of the 4? This 10-second copy thing, I would argue, if you're writing to make Jacob Nielsen happy, you're going to be one of the 4,996. You're going to be one of the ones that nobody wants to be, but almost everybody is. All of those messages that you've been putting out there that have been ignored, that's one of them. Now, I'm standing up here and saying, wow, there's all these messages. You should write more. How could that be the answer, right? How could the answer be to write more copy when there's already so much out there? And I would say, because the answer is not to keep doing the thing that you have been doing. This very popular in the boardroom and outside of the boardroom, if you've ever worked in-house in a marketing department for a tech company or anything, you've probably come across this classic message that makes me cry, makes most copywriters cry, this save time and money. It's so common. I keep it as a swipe file. I keep a swipe file filled with save time and money messages that I come across. And everybody says this, but this one I came across, I was shopping for my Nana's 90th birthday party. And we were going to get her a candy buffet, like as part of the party. Pretty cool. So I went on some different sites to see where I could order some bulk candy. They're selling candy with save time and money. Like candy. Candy is possibly the most emotional, like impulse sort of purchase you could possibly have. It does nothing good for you. It's all bad. It's all in your head. It's all like this super emotional thing. And it saved time and money. I'm going to have a giant box of colorful sugar delivered to my house. And you're telling me I can save time and money. Obviously a huge miss and so common because there's real safety in that message. Everybody thinks that's the ultimate thing you can say. And that's just one example of these really safe messages that we all gravitate toward. What I want to recommend you do is zoom in, is go deeper than that. Now, I do believe save time and money is the completely wrong message for candy here, for candy in bulk. But let's pretend save time and money was an okay message to use. Let's pretend it was the right one. How could we actually bring that to life for people? What could we actually say so that it wouldn't just sound like more white noise? Instead of save time and money, you could say something like, get the lowest candy prices and low flat rate shipping, or $6 flat rate shipping is what they actually have. That's at least zooming in deeper. That's going from this like high up here aerial view. If you were making like a documentary, you're way up high at save time and money. We want to go down to the details. Nobody has time for this up here. This is boring, this is dull, this is ignorable, this is nothing. We want to go down to the details. And that means, in doing that, it's not about how many words you use, it's not about long versus short at all. It's not about that. That conversation is not, it's not the conversation. It's about zooming in versus zooming out. Where we've been zooming out for so long, it's time to try zooming in. So here are some examples of how we've done that. So we worked with a company called Sweatblock. They sell deodorant for people who sweat a lot, like hyperhidrosis, where it's not like they don't sweat because they're hot or something. It's just like a lot of sweating. So solving a problem, we tested 2 home pages that were approximately the same length, tested them against each other. But variation B did this thing where we kind of zoomed in to replace summaries with real detail. So what does that look like? So the control would have a high-level summary like this. I'm going to read really close there. Control sweat, stop embarrassment. Okay, high level. Control sweat, stop embarrassment. What does embarrassment look like? What is embarrassment? I don't know what is that, right? So easy to kind of gloss over that and move on to the next one, which is so tiny here. This is the smallest screen on the planet. Nobody can read that. I have a close-up view in my pocket for the other ones, but I think it's control sweat for up to 7 days with a single use. Okay, fine. So up to 7 days, that sounds like we're getting specific, right? What more can we say? So in the new variation, we zoomed in on that. We said, control your sweat and wear what you want. And then stay dry for up to 7 days with just the dab of a towelette. So getting more specific, right? Like, what does this actually look like in my life? Stop embarrassment doesn't mean quite the same as wearing what I want. If I suffer from whatever it is that makes me come to this landing page, if I'm actually a prospect, I'm not an average visitor, I'm a real person looking for a real problem to be solved. I come here, I see more of myself on the page. Another high-level summary, let's go that, up to 7 days of sweat relief. Okay. Up to 7 days, that's still, I mean, it sounds specific, doesn't it? Like, it sounds like we're getting into the details, but what is sweat relief? If you were to visualize sweat relief, you'd come up with a bunch of different things, or you'd, of course, as your prospect, come up with nothing at all because it's not their job, they're too busy, they have other things to do. So we zoomed in on that, and we said, get up to 7 days of dry high fives, hugs, and hoorays, just for some alliteration, because. So zoomed in on that. That, I know what that is. A dry high five, I get it, I can raise my hand. It's a dry high five. I can hug. I get what that is. I know what that looks like. A hooray is at least a sound. I know what that sounds like. It's a real thing. This isn't like changing the world kind of stuff. This is obvious stuff that you're probably already thinking as you're writing, but then you're going through this like editing process in your head based on all this crap you've heard over time about how nobody reads online. We want to just kind of get past that. What happened when we did that? When we went through this page, we did this. Variation B doubled paid conversions. The majority of what changed on the page was just getting more specific with things where we were otherwise summarizing. So then we were like, cool, win, now we get to do more, because when you have a win, you get to do more. So we ran a second test against the new control. And here's the one. It's basically the same length. But you'll notice the one on the right, you can't see the detail, we're gonna do a close-up right away. But the one on the right has this little part tacked on up top. This is it kind of close up, and this is the part that we really added on there. The whole idea was to kind of zoom in on the pain people are feeling. So the real pain that we're trying to kill with this product. And if you think of your product and how you are killing pain, this should be an interesting thing for you. So our control had this pain-free hero, right? Where the product is the hero, we tell ourselves the prospect or the visitor is the hero, but this is all about the product. It's completely all about the product. Variation B was filled with pain. It was our prospect and what they're feeling, where they, when they arrive, are the hero of the page. Now, you'll notice that there is no sweat block product shot in the one on the right. There's nothing there. There's a little sweat block logo, of course, which you have to have. And there's still the same button up top in the sticky nav. But other than that, there's no product shot. We didn't show the product. You had to scroll twice before you even got near the product. This is uncomfortable for every business on the planet. Like nobody. This was not easy to pitch. It's never like, people don't like it. People like it. The business doesn't like it. So here's what we did. Here's what actually happened. We used this. It's called Problem Agitation Solution, PAS framework. This let us kind of get into those details and get inside of our prospect's head. So here's how it really breaks down, so you can see just how much space was spent on setting up the problem, on agitating the problem with examples, with real things that bring that to life, then getting into the solution, and then below that, even like once we've set up that there is a solution, then getting into the product. So we want to zoom in on the problem and how it actually presents itself in real life. Everything here, in case you're wondering like where messages come from, if you've ever got the Copy Hackers ebooks, which I think a few people in the room have, you might have got book 1, which is called Where Stellar Messages Come From. Everything that's showing in here was pulled from Amazon reviews. So Sweatblock also sells on Amazon. There are thousands of reviews for Sweatblock on Amazon. To find out what to say and the problems people were going through, we went through the Amazon reviews and just picked out the language that was like sticky, that made us pay attention. This is something you can do easily. There's lots of ways to find your message, but the most immediate way you can go right now and find your next possibly winning message is just going through reviews for products that are yours, that are similar to yours, or that are doing the job that your product should be hired for, like a book. So things like, it doesn't even have to be hot out. My armpits are always wet. That was swiped. It's not mine. I didn't write that. Everything on here, all of these points under agitation, around there's something like the color of clothing that you wear, dark. You can't wear light gray or light blue, always black. Something about a sweat soaker undershirt. Like, you can't make this stuff up. You have to go through and look at what people are really saying. All of that was pulled. So copywriting is a huge opportunity for you, and it doesn't have to be hard. You just have to listen and pull stuff in. So we put that in as our new hero section. The new variation, beat that, oh, there's going to be an overlap. Beat that high-performing control by, you can't really see it, but it's 49% paid lift. So we went from just zooming in and then adding even more detail on the page, just to keep growing revenue with that, right? Just keep doing it, zooming in, going deeper. Works the same with email as well. So that's an example of a homepage for e-commerce. Now let's talk about SaaS email. We worked with Wistia. Are you familiar with Wistia? Who loves Wistia? Right? Hands. Oh, thought someone would shout or something. Everybody's very polite with the hands. So we worked with Wistia. We love Wistia too. We use them all the time. Wistia has a 3-part onboarding sequence. Well, there are 3 sequences for people who are onboarding trial users to paid users. 3 triggered different sequences. So we worked on the 3rd one, where they had 8 emails. The whole goal was once you got triggered and put into this sequence, you're going to be moved towards being a paying customer. So we're trying to push you from trial to paid in this sequence. That was the whole goal. Generate revenue, get more people to hand over their credit card information, become paying users. So we tested ours against theirs. All we did was change the copy. Change the copy. That was it. The same. We used HubSpot to do this test. HubSpot has templates. You can't mess around with the templates very easily. So we had to keep everything the same except the copy. We tested it. We got 3.5 times the paid conversions. All fully vetted data, all of right, like you're like, oh, sure, but nope. This all happened in HubSpot. The whole Wistia team signed off. This is not coincidental. This is not insignificant. And there were no summaries to be found throughout these emails. All of the copy was longer. So I'm going to actually have to get this out. I took a picture because I knew this was going to be kind of small, and I'm going to read you some copy, and I have to see up close. I sound like a heavy breather. It's just so close to my nose. Okay, so I'm going to read you one, like the control email, and then I'll read you the one that we rewrote, and we'll like break it apart and see what went wrong, and what we did differently. So here's one of the new ones. Oh, sorry, I just hit you with a laser. I hit the wrong button. Okay, here's the next one. Okay, so control email number 2. This is the second one in the sequence. I'll read it to you. You can decide if you think it's specific enough or not. Would it make you stop doing what you were doing and pay attention? Would you get it? You're probably already reading it. Okay. Customize your player. 18% is a lot. That's the improvement in play rate that Wistia customers see by customizing the color of their video player appearance to reflect their company branding on their website. It's that easy. Then there's a video. Get more plays on your videos by customizing your player colors. Okay, that's the whole email. I'm a busy person, and I get this email, and there are 5,000 messages I'm being attacked by in a day. I've become extremely skilled at blocking messages. I'm so skilled. I can knock through 4,996 in a day. They can't hit me, and I get this email. Do I stop and pay attention? Do I believe it? Does it make me do anything? Or is it just like, no, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm fine. And move on with my life like we do so often, which copy can stop. Copy can make that stop. So we were like, okay, good idea, Wistia, and they're very good marketers. But what if we were to kind of zoom in on that, on things like the 18% improvement? When you say 18% is a lot, nobody believes 18% is a lot. That has never sounded like a lot in the history of numbers. So zoom in on that. What's a video player? What do you mean? What is this video player? I have to visualize. I'm not, who are you? What? And zoom in on my life. Like, you're trying to talk to me, right? You're trying to get into my head. You're trying to connect with me. Why do I care about your Wistia customers and what they're doing? So here is our rewrite. You'll remember, I think if we go back, we can't, okay. The last one was pretty short. This one is going to be a little bit longer. Okay, so this was ours. Okay, variation B, we tested against that other one, of course, as you already know. We saw 18% more people click play when we did this. First name, we customized the color of our video players. That's all it took to get nearly 20% more views of our videos. The Wistia video player defaults to gray, which is nice, but gray. So why stick with gray when you can go with hot pink or dollar bill green or, well, Wistia blue? Take a look. Then we had a side-by-side image in there, then a call to action, which is you can change a video's player color in 2 clicks in Wistia. Then we continue on. Getting 18% more views is pretty major. Videos that used to get 100 views in a day now get 118 views a day. In a month, that's an extra 500 plus views. And it only takes something like 11 seconds to make this very simple but very powerful change to your video. Sounds really easy. Call to action, PS. That's the whole email. We zoomed in. We just said more. What is 18%? 18% is a number, and if you just say 18% is a lot, that does not make it true. We had to tell them what that really looks like, and we could go much further than this. Say how many more views that would be in a year. We could go further and say if you convert X number of people or viewers into paying customers, that could mean this much more money for your business. We could go further, but we already had Andrew replying like, that's a little more copy than we're used to, Joanna. So I pulled back, but there's so many more places you could go and so much more you could do to bring that to life for your very, very busy readers. Now, I'm going to finish this part out by asking you all to stand up. No, I'm kidding. I would not ask you to stand up. But I do want you to close your eyes, and I can see most of you. Okay. Oh, sorry, not yet. Sorry. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do, and then close your eyes. Sorry. Okay. What we're going to do is you're going to close your eyes, and all I want you to do is just be you. So just like listen to what you're hearing and pay attention if any images form in your brain at all. Like if anything actually becomes a real image in your mind, okay? That's your whole job, and then I'll tell you when to open your eyes. I'll tell you when to close them, and I'll tell you when to open them. All you have to do is listen, okay? Okay, close your eyes. Deep breathing. Okay, meet Wistia customer Z Blue. There are a lot of creative ways to grow your business with video. Collecting email addresses is an easy way to fill your database with sales-ready leads. We thought you'd enjoy reading how Z Blue, a digital marketing firm, collects leads with video for their client, the Santa Barbara Chicken Ranch, and uses coupons to connect with their customers. Want to collect leads with your videos? Upgrade to Wistia Pro Plan and use Turnstile in your videos. Okay, open your eyes. Did you see anything? Did your mind see anything? Chicken. Do you think Wistia was hoping that you would see chickens when you read this, that the one thing you would remember paying attention to is that? Probably not, right? So without the picture on the page, without that, what is your brain left to see? When we don't rely on images, when we actually put words there and try to engage our reader who is actually literate and capable of reading by and large, the real question is, without the picture, what would your brain see, right? We need to stop relying so much on the images and the things around our messages when our messages are actually there to sell. They're actually there to get inside people's heads. Like words are supposed to actually like create pictures in our minds. That's what they're there for. They're supposed to engage our imagination. If they're not doing that, they're not doing their job, and they shouldn't be on your page at all. We can do all that we want to do with images. I'm not saying stop using those. I'm saying stop relying on them, because the most amazing things happen when you're actually inside your prospect's imagination. To quote Mr. Don Draper, who I wish was not fictional, they have no budget. The imagination of the consumer has no budget. There's no time limit. And if you can get into that space, your ad can run all day. That's how you get to be one of the 4 that actually gets remembered. Not by talking about chicken as the one thing that actually stands out in your email, but by using more images, by actually trying harder to get more specific with what you're saying. It's going to be uncomfortable, but it's exactly what your prospects need from you. They're tired of the rest. They're telling us that. They're ignoring all of the rest and paying attention only to the most relevant, specific stuff for them. We've seen examples of that, and I'm sure you've seen examples of that in your own life. So we rewrote that. I'm going to, because I have a little time, I'm going to read it out to you. This is, you don't have to close your eyes, you're welcome to if you want to, but video marketing with Wistia turns viewers into leads. What if you could double your leads without doubling your PPC spend, without doubling your content production, without doing anything more than switching on Wistia turnstiles? When we stopped using on-page lead generation forms and started using video turnstiles, we went from a 6% conversion rate to an 11% conversion rate. That's nearly double the leads without any extra effort. Sounds great, you say, but what on earth is a turnstile? This, my friend, is a turnstile. And there's a GIF of the turnstile because it demonstrates very well in motion. It's a really elegant content gate in Wistia. Here's how to turn your marketing and demo videos into lead collection machines. 1, prospects land on your page. 2, they see your video front and center, not squished next to an ugly form. 3, they click play. 4, they watch, and then, just at the moment when you're about to reveal an incredible data point or the climax of a killer story, voila, the turnstile appears. You can add a turnstile at the beginning of a video, at the end, or at an exact point on your timeline. And anywhere you embed the video, on any page or on any site, you can collect leads. Where do all those leads go? Then we get into those details. In almost every, in almost every case, the winning email copy was 2 to 3 times as long as the control. And people read it. The right people read it. The average visitor was not in our minds at all. The average person doesn't exist as a thing. So people are not afraid to read. You just have to make them want to. When they actually take the time to open your email, that is a major win for you. And you have to respect that. Yes, they're busy, but they gave you that moment. You have to use that moment to win their business over, and you can do that with your words, as you've seen. 10-second copy is, I do not believe, the future for any business in this room. It was made by UX pros. Clarity is good. Getting to the point is good. But don't overlook all the important stuff you have to say and your prospects need you to say in order to be convinced to choose you. Test more words, use more words. They are free in unlimited quantities. That is all. Thank you.
A simple tactical question. When do you use images in emails?
When they need to be in there. So I've seen over time, and some may say I'm biased because I'm a copywriter, but when copy leads design, things tend to go better from a conversion perspective. So I would never start by saying this email needs an image. I'd say, what's the message? What's the goal? What is our prospect trying to get out of this? What can we actually move them to do? And then as you're writing that, do you need an image? Like in the turnstile, the Wistia turnstile case, there was only an image in there because it actually called for it. Like, what's a turnstile? We tell you what it is, then we show you what it is, and then we tell you what it is. So that's when I would use it. But again, like in all those Wistia emails, we pulled out almost all the videos, and we almost never used images. Didn't hurt conversion rate at all. Does that help? Cool, thank you.
Other questions?
Do these same rules kind of apply in social media when you're dealing with Instagram or Facebook when that spot is so much smaller?
Yeah, Facebook is not a copywriter's friend. But yeah, Facebook ads, I mean, as most of us know, like the image is the biggest deal, right? And you can keep all your copy the same and just keep testing your images out and do really good things for your conversion rate. So today, but that's been the case kind of with ads in the past as well, right? Like magazine ads were very visual, except in the rare case where they weren't. So be specific still in the language that you do use, and then you're perhaps more likely to get people to actually click. But we know, like at this point in the history of Facebook ads, at this point, images are king. They're the big deal. But if someone's going to read that copy once they've seen that image and they're paying attention, are you saying something that's going to actually matter to them? Yeah, cool. Thank you. Cool.
Have you ever had longer copy perform worse than shorter copy?
It depends what you like. If we mean this kind of longer copy, Copy loses for a lot of reasons. If your message is right to begin with, if your message is already in a good place, like you feel like, okay, it's converting well, then digging deeper and getting into the details, I haven't seen it lose. That doesn't mean I've tested constantly everything everywhere, but I haven't seen it lose. If the message itself is wrong to begin with, like the candy store thing, if you were to change save time and money to get low flat rate shipping and the lowest prices online, that might still be better than the control, but it's not. It's easy to beat that. I would say that would be an easy one to beat with a simple message about a shorter even message, possibly about get candy at your doorstep, right? Like open sugar on lap or something, right? I don't even know what that would be, but you could say things a lot shorter and have a better message outperform the longer message that wasn't right to begin with. Anything else?
This is kind of off topic, but how are things going with growing Air Story, and what's been the hardest part so far?
You're a plant. I planted him. That's good.
You want to give a one-sentence summary of what Air Story is?
No, I just wrote to my team and was like, we need an elevator pitch for Air Story badly. Air Story is it's going to be a little bit like Lead Pages for documents. That's the ultimate goal, is to make it really fast and easy to write, mostly fast as their primary value prop. To write copy, because getting started is hard and finishing it is hard. And then there's the hard part in the middle. So we're going to make it easier and faster to do that. But it's going well. 2 months in. If you want a demo, I'm happy to show you how it can work for you. And we have some pretty cool templating features coming out in about 2 weeks. Thank you for asking.
I think we have time for one more question.
I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but what the old adage "show don't tell" came to mind a lot. When is it good to show, and when is it good to tell?
I had a drunken fight with Amy Hoy about that exact thing. She believes show don't tell. I believe show and tell, both. So tell then show then tell. People need details. Nobody cares about anything. If you go into every writing exercise knowing nobody cares about anything, then you'll know that you can't just show, you have to like really tell. So if show versus tell means like kind of, show is the more elegant solution. Telling is like, here, this is what you do. Go do it this way, and this is exactly what you'll get out of it. That's the one that I would put my money on, actually getting people to make sense of it. Show is nice, so I would say sandwich it between two tells, just to make the whole argument more complex, because that's how I stay employed, I guess. I don't know. Cool?
Thanks again, Joanna.
Okay, thanks, guys.